Alright, so you've probably been hearing a lot about Florida lately, and it could be for good reasons or bad reasons, but what we're going to talk about today is why are people leaving Florida and the top reasons that they move out. We're getting after that next. Hey everybody, my name's Craig Cunha. I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida, and if you are looking for a channel to tell you a little bit more about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, this is the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell to make sure you're notified every time a new video comes out, and to get your search through the MLS started sooner, go to our nextfloridahome.com and get yourself started there. I'm getting calls from people every single day asking questions about what it's like to live here, what they need to know, and how to get started. So if you've got a specific question that I can answer for you, you've got to call, text, or email because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. Alright, so look, I understand the lure of living in paradise. You're thinking bikinis, you're thinking frozen drinks with umbrellas in it. You're thinking about the beaches, the boats, the palm trees, and most recently, freedom. Yes, all of that is here, but it all comes with a price. And we're going to be talking about those things and why people decide to leave the Sunshine State. So the first thing that we've got to talk about is expectations. Expectations in anything can kind of let you down over time because we come to Florida thinking all these wonderful things, all that stuff we just talked about, that's what everybody wants. So it's a vacation mindset. It's a kind of shooting for the stars kind of a thing. And you're wanting all these things to happen, and I get it. You're excited. It's new. It's something that everybody talks about, so hey, I'm going to get to do this. But just like how there's new relationships and that new car smell, those things wear off over time. And this happens much the same way because there is a certain point where life gets real. Life doesn't just stop or change significantly from what you're used to. It's just in a different location with some other distractions. And we're going to be talking about those things that some people are just over and it makes them leave. All right, so first, you are the new kid on the block. You know, you don't know anybody. You left everything behind. Most likely you don't know anybody. You could have family or friends somewhere nearby. Most people don't. And you are trying to find out, how am I going to meet people? How am I going to assimilate into the community? And then you find out the neighboring house is an Airbnb where the people blast their music until midnight every night, partying in the pool. And this is because they are truly on vacation and they're going to take advantage of it every single night. Then you realize that the kids are being picked on in school. The dog won't go outside to go to the bathroom because he's being bullied by the neighborhood coyote. Is any of this true? Probably not. But if somebody wrote an article about it in Newsbreak or made a video about it, there'd be more people believing all that than would think it's BS. But I'm here to straighten things out. And remember, as always, this is coming from my perspective. These are things that I see, I hear, I read. So a lot of people tell me these things. A lot of clients are sharing their stories. And that's where all this information comes from. Is it going to be different than what others have heard or said? Yeah, possibly so. But this is Southwest Florida, and this is what I know. So one of the big things that you hear all the time now is living in Florida is no longer affordable. And for many areas, that very well could be true. And it is one of those things that the desire to be here and the potential for profits is rather large right now. So there are corporations and investment individuals that are coming in and just scooping up these homes. And I know firsthand what this is like because the prices have more than doubled in many cases. I've owned my home for 3 years and I'm pretty much double. And this is what a lot of people are experiencing. And if you don't come here with money or a job or people you can stay with and get started with, that can be really difficult. And to make matters worse, the rent is outpacing the sales. So now for me to even rent something, it's more expensive than that house that I just said doubled. So where do you start? Where do you go? That's a tough question. I don't have all the answers for that, but I'll tell you this. If you come with a solid career, something that's maybe in the medical field, something that is a specialization, you're going to have a much easier time of it than if you didn't. Now, there are hundreds, if not thousands of jobs available here right now, but they're not the kind of jobs that are going to pay for that kind of a home or, you know, the $2,000 to $2,500 a month rent just with that one job. So if you're not living with somebody and don't have a second job or have a second income coming in, things could be very difficult. And that's a reality of living in Florida at this time. Now, with that said, many of the other expenses are really not that much different than other areas of the country. I've traveled around to numerous areas and found that when I go to the grocery store, yeah, things are actually more expensive in some areas than they are here. So it really isn't that. And gas, it's not terribly expensive compared to other areas of the country either. There are some things that will be more expensive, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Now, what you will find is that there are going to be people that are going to be inconsiderate and selfish, and I've talked about this in some other videos before, and it still is consistently there. But to be fair, I have to say there are some really nice, sweet people here too. And the reason why we see such extremes is because this is becoming more of a melting pot. We're seeing people from all areas, not even just within the country, but within the world. So those different mindsets, those different attitudes, those different expectations all come in here. And then we all have life events that happen, and that just can spin us the wrong way one day. But just keep in mind, there is a lot of impatience right now. You'll see it on the roads, you'll see it in the stores, waiting in line, all that kind of stuff. It's there. So that's also driving people back to maybe their little Midwest town that was just kind of laid back and everybody's friendly. I know everybody, so they're going to treat me well. Well, everybody doesn't know you here, and they may not treat you well. So we just talked about this being a melting pot. Well, something that happens within that is the horrible driving. Absolutely, we are known for just absolutely terrible driving. And there comes the selfishness again, and there comes the impatience again. Yeah, that driving, I literally had somebody pull out. They raced in front of the traffic to get to the center median and then left the ass end of their car hanging halfway across the lane. If it wasn't for the lane next to me being open, that car would have been T-boned. And I drive an F-150, so I'm sure it probably wouldn't be too good for that minivan or that, SUV, but they just don't care. There is literally that selfishness that I'm going to do what I want to do and you need to adjust to it. Well, I wouldn't have time to adjust to it. My brakes, yeah, they work, but they're not going to work that good. Our weather is obviously hot and humid. There's no getting around that. And that's the whole state. And there's other areas of the country I know that are hot and humid too in the summertime because I hear about it from my clients. The other thing about Florida is this, is the rainstorms will come. They're going to come and they're going to be about a 30 to 60 minute downpour. Happens usually between 2 and 5 every afternoon. There will be lightning with it. You will hear the lightning alarms. And don't tell me there aren't lightning alarms because I hear them constantly. I live right by a park and a school. The alarms go off. Warns you to be on the lookout and actually take cover. Shouldn't be outside swinging steel golf clubs or anything like that because you're just inviting trouble. Now, after that storm passes, things are dry within probably 30 to 60 minutes because that's how warm it is here. That's how humid it is here. But that is part of the weather patterns that drive people out of here. It is very different from anywhere else in the country in how that happens. But the one thing that really drives people out of here and makes them crazy is hurricanes. Why? I don't understand it. Yeah, I know. It's a big storm. I know it does a lot of damage if it hits you directly. The chance of that, as much as the weather channels want to tell you this year there's going to be 50 storms, 10 of them are going to be major, so pack up all your stuff and go. No. I've been in my home for 3 years now. The shutters are in the exact same spot that they were when I moved in. I haven't had to put them on because the storms don't come that often. And when they do, you have a choice. You pack up and get the heck out, or you put your shutters up, have friends over for a hurricane party, and ride it out. Now, insurance rates here for both home and auto can be higher than other areas, but they're also lower than some other areas. You've heard me already talk about the hurricanes just now. Well, that's going to be part of the scenario that makes the home insurance a little bit more. Flood insurance can be higher depending on where you're situated. And the auto insurance, that's highly dependent. Actually, just like the home insurance, they're both highly dependent on you. What are you choosing? How expensive a home are you buying? What age home are you buying? Those play huge parts because are all the codes up to date that give you the discounts for the insurance? It all plays a part on your insurance for the car or the truck. That plays a part too in what's your credit like, what's your driving history like. Those things all play into this. Now, yes, crazy drivers make the rates go up, but these are a couple of things that you will pay for to have this life down here, but they are reasons why people say, I'm leaving Florida. I'm tired of paying those high insurance rates. Now, politics are another reason why people leave Florida, and this isn't just about the president and the governor. This is also about big business, and this is also about Little League. Yeah, I said Little League. I have to explain this. So 2 things. Number 1, Margaritaville is coming into the area. That's down on Fort Myers Beach. And there are a set number of permits that are given out to businesses to do water sports. This is the guys that do the parasailing and the jet skiing and all that. Well, Margaritaville is pushing to expand the number of permits that are allowed. So far, they've capped it, it's been filled, and that's all they were allowing. But because Margaritaville is a big power company, they want to come in and push their way in to get more permits allowed for the area. A couple things play into that. Number one, safety. How many of these vehicles can you have out on the water and still keep it safe? As you'll see, some of the times of the year, this waterway is so busy with just all the private boats, let alone the businesses that are zipping around. I mean, the purpose of these entertainment things are speed and excitement, right? Now we're going to add even more of it to it. And it's all because a big name, a big, powerful company comes in and wants to change it. That doesn't sit well with all people. The other one is this Little League baseball stuff. I mean, Little League is supposed to be fun, right? My son's in Little League baseball for a number of years now, and this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this happen. We had a coach fired. Yeah, you know why he was fired? Because he played by the rules. Except he didn't realize there was an unwritten rule. So there was a kid, he hits home runs regularly in this league. It was the number one team in the league. They had picture day and all that stuff set up for this day. So they were talking about how they were going to beat up on our team and all that. Well, it turns out they lost because we intentionally walked their home run hitter 3 times when he was up. Well, apparently the board for this Little League Association, they're all friends. They've been in the league together for a number of years. And the coach of the other team was in this board as well. So they voted to get rid of the head coach of the winning team. Messed up their perfect record for the season, and it was just another example to the kids that even if you do the right thing, that you can still be punished for it. Once again, the rule book said intentional walks are allowed, yet there was a reprimand for doing so. I don't know. Just another example of politics that could make you get out of here. Healthcare is another one I hear a lot about not being as good here as it is other places, but again, this is not a one-size-fits-all. This is a situation. Everybody's got a different need, different specialties that they need, and different experiences where you were before. So you might have got really super great care in one location, and down here you're just not getting the attention or maybe it's even the way that they talk to you. Maybe they don't talk to you kind enough. Maybe they're not as concerned for you. Whatever it may be, you don't have to stick with that provider. There's numerous providers. So do your homework, ask for referrals, shop around for that too. Healthcare, in my experience, has been wonderful. I've had some really great doctors. My dermatologist, she is awesome. Stina McKenna, if you need a dermatologist, talk to Stina. She's amazing. In any case, not everybody's going to have these same experiences. My other half happens to be a nurse, and she is with Lee Memorial Health and does a great job with them. And she has many, many, many people say, what a great nurse she is. That was wonderful the way that you stayed with me and talked to me and were involved. So not everything is the same in every location, and not every person that you touch and reach out to is going to be the same. So keep searching until you find the one you want, but the healthcare truly is not that bad. And it's not a reason to have to leave unless you choose to leave. Another reason people leave is tourists, snowbirds, vacationers. They're just over it. These snowbirds are there, but they don't understand there's a good and a bad to this. So the bad side, yeah, long lines, lots of traffic on the road, generally higher prices in some locations, especially if you notice parking on Fort Myers Beach. It more than doubled while we were in season here, especially during spring break. So there's a lot of things that do change when they come here. And I understand it's a temporary time frame, and most people understand that as well. But the one thing that they have to put into context too is what those people do for our local economy. What they're doing is providing the income for these businesses that they're going to. So the long line you waited for, say in January, there's no line in July. Yet they're still able to stay open because of all the income that was infused there with all these people. So if it bothers you that much, don't move. What you do is arrange your times to go to these places, your favorite places, to when there aren't as many people, whether it's the hour of the day or a different month. But there's no reason to just pick up and leave unless you have something better to do. And yes, people will leave due to wildlife and bugs and critters and all that kind of stuff. I've heard it 100 times. In fact, there was a 10-foot gator walking down the street the other day in one of the neighborhoods here. So yeah, does it exist? Absolutely. Do they want to be in your space? Do they want to be cuddled up next to you? No, that's not what they're looking for. Although all this development around us has pushed a lot of the wildlife into the neighborhoods, just be aware. Small pets, there are coyotes out there. There are bobcats out there. There are gators out there. Snakes and all the other stuff. The no-see-ums and mosquitoes that we talked about, yeah, they're out there too. All this stuff is going to be present, but you know what? No matter where you live, there's wildlife, and it's there whether you see it or not. This is just a matter of paying close attention to what's around you. In fact, seeing a gator is more of an excitement for most people, as opposed to being afraid or wanting to take off. Wildlife, to me, I think there's a lot of different types of wildlife here to experience, and a lot of it's actually kind of cool. So if you aren't going to use that as your excuse, then you're gonna enjoy Florida a little bit more. Now, this list, we could keep talking about things like red tide and blue-green algae and the school system, which honestly, I don't think the school system's that bad. And many people that I talk to that are moving here from other areas say, hey, actually the schools here are pretty darn good. So again, this all comes down to opinion from people and what their experiences were and how they're comparing it to this and how deeply involved they're in right now to give a good comparison. But this list, as I said, we could go on and on and on. Somebody even mentioned something about homeless people the other day. Well, yeah, I know up the street here, a couple miles away, I've seen a homeless guy there, but he doesn't bother anybody. He's not looking to bother you, and it's not a prevalent problem. There's some cities that have a big problem with that. We're not one of them. All right, so that's it for why people would be leaving Florida. As I said, there's a lot more things that we could discuss about this, and maybe you'll find it in one of these other videos. But if you've got a specific question that you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.